Hello all, welcome to AWS Babies. So in this video we are going to talk about EC2, which is Elastic Compute Cloud. So Elastic Compute Cloud is like one of the basic features in AWS, which is the most important features I would say, um, which is creating servers in cloud. So how that is done? So first of all, let me get back into the presentation that I already gave in video one. So in that video, I talked about whatever business and IT services that is currently happening in the market. Almost everything can be done through cloud services platform via the internet. So business and IT services in the sense, basically whatever related to database services or storage services or website hosting or running application or whatever it is. So for all these to happen, we should have servers installed first of all. So EC2 will help you in creating a server in cloud. So what are the advantages that is there for the cloud? The most important advantage, which is no need to make any large upfront investments in hardware. So without purchasing any hardware, I am going to create the server in cloud that I am going to show you in this video. Low cost, obviously. So we know that the billing in AWS is pay as you go. So for creating servers in cloud, if you use specific features, specific configuration, then we need not pay any cost. It is free of cost. So again, that one, if you use the free tier account in AWS for 740 hours, you can run servers free of cost. So after that, again, it will be billing, and this is applicable only for a basic configuration, and that we are going to see today. So the next one is go global in minutes, which we are going to see in this video itself. And provides IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So the platform as a service is what is AWS, which is provided by Amazon. IaaS is the infrastructure which we are going to create. That is a server with all the software, all the necessary hardwares, everything. We are going to create it. So we will see how IaaS is implemented in AWS and SaaS. So SaaS, software as a service, in the sense the basic operating system along with the basic required softwares, whatever is it, how we are going to install in the server, we are going to see it. So let us get into things practically. We will see in AWS how we are going to create a server. So I'm already in the AWS console. In compute division, we have to get into EC2 option. So the first and foremost important um, option that we need to see is the region, which I have already selected as Mumbai. So because Mumbai is the nearest region for me, I have selected that. So what I have to check now is I have to check the availability limits for me, which means that if I have to create a particular server with a particular configuration, so the configuration type I am going to select now is t2.micro. So what is t2.micro? We will see it in some minutes. But first we have to see for t2.micro limits are there or not. So here you can see for t2.micro we have 10 instances. That is the limit that they have set. So for 10, it is a very good limit for us, which is enough for us to go ahead and create a server. So in total, we have 20 limits, which is very good for us. So with this, I can go ahead and create a server with this particular region. If you don't have this limit with you, you can go ahead and change this region and check for the limit. So the limit should be 20 for you. If you don't find in any of the regions, if you don't have the 20 limit, what you can do, you can send a mail to AWS support group and ask to increase your limit. So that is the first thing to be checked. I have already formulated the steps that we are going to do today. The first one is easy to service limit, which we have already checked, and it is there. 20 is the limit, which is enough for us to create a server. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to EC2 dashboard. So the second step is launching an instant, and these are the availability zones and the region details that we are um, um, where we are going to create the server. So I'm launching the instance first of all. So instance in the sense a particular server, when it is launched at a particular time, we call it as a instance. Now what we are going to do, first of all, we are going to check this option, which is free tier only, so that we are making sure that this is not going to cost us. Now the step one, which it is asking us Amazon machine image, that is AMI. So what it is? So first we are going to select which operating system that we want. So in this video, what I am planning to do, I am planning to create a Windows server. So Windows server in the sense Windows 2012 server, which I am going down, and this is the one, Microsoft Windows Server R2 base. So this is the particular AMI instance ID, AMI ID you can call. So it is R2 standard version with 64-bit architecture. I'm going to select that. Second step is we have a total of around 7 steps. So I am in step 2, which is choose an instance type. So already I told you I'm going to select a t2.micro. So what t2.micro is? That particular definition is given here. So it is basically the processor and RAM details. So t2.micro is 2.5 gigahertz processor with Intel Xeon family and 1 GB of RAM. So that is what is t2.micro, and you can see that it is the free tier eligible. For whatever other things that you are going to select, it is going to cost you. So here you can see that it is one CPU with 2.5 gigahertz with 1 GB of RAM. I'm going ahead and for the next step. So next step is configure instance detail. So here I'm going to create only one instance. The other important thing that you have to select is network. So I'm going in which you are going to select the VPC, which is virtual private cloud. You can always change this, but I am going to keep the default one. So in network videos, we will see more on this. So subnet, auto assign public IP, everything I am keeping it as the default one. Now here is the IAM role. So again in IAM videos, we are going to see how to select a particular IAM for the user, IAM role for a particular user. But with the admin account, I am going to create this server. So I am not going to change this. Shutdown behavior. So whenever we have an option of stop or terminate, I am going ahead with terminate option. So what is the meaning of that? Whenever I terminate the server, it is going to close this particular instance. If you give stop, it is like whenever you terminate the server, it is not going to stop this instance. Whenever you want, you can again reboot the server. So I want to terminate the server, terminate the instance whenever the server is shut down. So I am going ahead with this option. For other options, I am going to keep the default one. So I'm going ahead with, for the next step, which is add storage. So here is the hard disk size that you are going to select, which I am keeping it as the default one, which is 30 GB of memory hard disk. If I'm going to change this, it is going to cost me. So I'm not changing it. I'm keeping it the default one, which is 30 GB, and it is not encrypted as well. And here the type of hard disk you can see it is general purpose SSD. SSD is like solid state drive, which is the fastest one compared to the old versions, like magnetic tape or um, whatever else it is. So I am going ahead with SSD only. Now I'm going ahead for the next step, which is add tags. So this is like naming the server. So what I'm going to do, we have key and value pairs. In key, I'm going to name, and the server name I'm going to give here. I'm going ahead with this particular name, Sri Win Server. So I'm going ahead for the next step, which is configure security group. So this is one of the very important steps that we need to give. So first of all, I want to explain about what security group is. For that, I have created one image. So this is my system through which I'm going to access the internet through Airtel router, through Airtel DNS. I'm connected to internet now. So I'm already connected to internet now. Now the AWS platform is connected to internet as well through their DNS server. Now in between the AWS cloud and the internet, there is a separation which we call it as the security group. Now through AWS, the server cannot be connected for everyone. We are going to define that. Inside this AWS only, our service we are going to create. So that server who and what all services can access from internet. So that's what we are going to define as a security group. So basically what all options we have. So if we go ahead and see this type, we can see many protocols defined inside this. Now what all protocols I need, those protocols I need to set here. So for the respective protocol, we should know the port also. Now what all I am going to define for our Windows server. First one is RDP, which is remote desktop protocol, and we have to define the protocol to port 3389. So what is the use of RDP? RDP is like any protocol is like a service which is already defined, and if you invoke that protocol, you can have the benefits of that particular service. So RDP is for remote desktop access. So whatever server that we are going to create, how we are going to access that through remote desktop service, we are going to access that. To enable that service, we are defining this RDP protocol. Next one is ICMP, which is Internet Control Message Protocol. So it can be defined through any port, and the use of ICMP is to check the accessibility of a server. So how we are going to use that service and what is the requirement of that service? So whatever server that we have created, we have to check whether we are able to access that particular server or not. For that, how we can do that? Through command prompt, we have a command called ping. So using that, we will give the IP address, public IP address of that particular server, and we can check whether the server is reachable, accessible or not. So we will do that in this video itself. So the next protocol that we are going to define is HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and that one we are going to access through port number 80. And what is the purpose of HTTP? We can access web server through that. So what we are going to do in this video, we are going to create a server, and we are going to create a web server inside that, and we are going to access that web server through my desktop. So that is the purpose of this particular video. So I'm going ahead and going to give this protocol, define this protocol inside my AWS console. So here already I have given the RDP and the port is correct. Source. So what this is going to do? If I give three options are there. If I am giving custom, and if I want to um, access this server through my particular system, then I can go ahead and give custom and my IP address of my system. If I am giving anywhere, then anybody can access the server through any system. And if I am giving my IP, automatically it will take my server IP address. So what I am going to do, I am giving anywhere here. If you want to give any description, you can go ahead and give that. The second rule that I am going to add is, as mentioned earlier, it is ICMP. So the option we have to select is all ICMP IPv4, and port can be any port. So that is already there, and source I am moving it to anywhere, so that anywhere from the world anybody can access it. So if I am selecting custom, then a particular person or from a particular server where we need to access the this particular remote server, that IP address can be given. So for now I am giving anywhere. The third rule that I am going to add is HTTP from port 80, and here also I am selecting anywhere. So I'm going ahead for the next step, which is review and launch. So in this, whatever we have already selected, you can review it. So regarding the instance type, A2 micro, the security groups, the three groups that we have already added, the instant details, default VPC with IAM role none, etc., and storage with 30 GB, and the tags with the name of the server that we have already added. So I'm going ahead and clicking launch. This takes us to this particular screen in which we are going to create the uh, public key and private key. So first of all, for creating the public key, if you already have an existing public key, you can select that. But for this um, video, I'm going to create a new public key pair. So the name that I'm going to give is win key. So it cannot be said that it is only for a particular Windows server. So whatever servers that I'm going to create through my administrator credentials, I can use this public key. So what I'm going to give, I'm giving public key like that, and I'm going to download that. So this is the name that I'm giving, and hence I'm just storing it. Now I'm downloading the key pair. So what it is telling already exists. So I'll just give public key one. So that is downloaded now. So if I go to my downloads folder, I can see Sri pub key one. So this is the key, public key with which we are going to log into the server. Now I am just opening it with Notepad++. So even though I call it as a public key, so the technical term is it is a private key only, but for understanding sake, I'm telling it as a public key. And you can see the key that is created. So this is a high security thing, and it is encrypted in such a manner that nobody can decrypt this. No hacker can decode this and get the private key from this. Um, so if we carefully check and if we analyze this particular code that AWS has generated, it might be having all the details of our account details, credit card details, whatever we gave for this particular account with whatever I have created. So that is actually a secret information. Um, so yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch the instance with this particular public key. So you can see when you view the launch log, you can see all the security groups got created, all the inbound rules are successful, and initial launch is successful. So if I go and click on this view instances, it will take us to a particular screen in which we can see the instance getting generated. So here you can see the name of the server, Sriwin server, with instance ID, instance type T2.micro, and availability zone as Asia Pacific South 1A. And you can see the instance state is pending. So it is yet creating the server. So one more thing I just want to tell is the status checks. So there are two basic checks that the AWS will do before this gets into running state. So already this particular server is selected. So the details you can see, I'm just maximizing the screen. So here you can see the instance state is already running and it is in green. And you can see the security checks is initializing. So we are in the initial tab description. You can see the state is already running. It is t2.micro instance type and availability zone along with the security groups. So we can see what all security groups we have already attached to it. So if we view the inbound rules, it will be like all the three rules that we have selected. And if we view the outbound rules, we can see it is for all. Apart from that, your AMI ID, your key pair name, IAM role is none, platform is Windows, etc., etc. And on the right side, you can see the public IP details, the public DNS server, the private DNS server, along with the private IP of the server create. If we go to statistics, as I told, there are two statistics that has to be done. Initial one is the system statistics and one the instance statistics. So system statistics is like PaaS service, which means that the platform, um, which is AWS. So for this server to be up and running, whether the AWS platform is up and running, it will check first. It will ensure that, and the instance data check, which is infrastructure as a service, whether it is the particular instance is up and running or not, like that, it will initialize. So these two, it has to go fine. So I'm minimizing it. So we have a refresh button here. Yeah, it is at initializing it. So by the time what we can do is the instance state is already running, which means that the server is up and running. What we can do, so as we have discussed already, we have three security groups that is defined already. So in which ICMP, it is working or not, I'm going to prove it now. So how to prove it? What is the use of ICMP? To check the accessibility of the server. So the server is up and running. So what I am going to do, I will take the public IP of the server. I will open command prompt. I'll type the command ping space public IP of the server. On clicking it, see, we are able to ping it and we are getting a reply from that particular server. If we check this, we have sent 4 packets and all 4 we have received back the acknowledgement of it. So this proves that the server is up and running and the ICMP protocol is working. So now here again the statistics 2 bar 2 checks completed, we can see passed. So the second protocol, which is RDP that we have defined, I'm going to prove that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to um, um, remotely going to log in into the system, into the instance that I have created, which is the Windows server that I have created. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect. So first of all, remote desktop file we need. For that, I'm downloading that. So it is there in my, it gets downloaded in my download. So this one, we are opening it. If we go back here, we can see the public DNS name with the public IP, and the username is administrator. Obviously, I'm the administrator for this service server. So this password, I'm going to name it as private key, which I'm going to generate from the public key, which is already downloaded. So one more important information that I want to tell is Sri pub key 1 is the public key that we have already downloaded. The extension of this key is .pem. So PEM file. And with the help of this, we are going to generate the password. How? I am checking the option get password. I'm going to choose file and I am going to select the PEM key. So I'm selecting that. It will copy paste the content whatever was there in the PEM file. I'm clicking decrypt password so that I'm getting a password. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this password. The username is administrator. Remote desktop file I'm getting into. I'm getting connect. So with administrator password I'm giving. Okay. On clicking this, it is checking for the certificate um, name details and all. So we can see we have logged. We are logging into the server with this particular public IP. So we can see we have successfully logged inside the server, which is a Windows Server 2012 R2 version, and with this public IP and this private IP with the availability zone, and the instance type t2.micro, and they have given us a AMD 64 system. So what we can do, my computer, if we go right click in properties, we can see all the details with 1 GB RAM, 2.44 GHz, 64-bit operating system. So yeah, so I have proved that RDP is also working fine. The third one, which we are going to check now, is HTTP. So we have enabled this also when we configured the server, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So it is for accessing the web server. So first of all, I need to install the web server inside the server that we have generated remotely, and then we are going to see whether we are able to access that particular website from my local system. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to install the web server inside the remote server that I have created. So for that, first of all, I'm going into server manager. So I'm getting into the option add roles and features. So yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, in the server role, what I'm going to do, there should be an option for web server. Yes, IAS. I'm selecting that. Yeah, add the features. Next. Yeah, let all these things be the default uh, configuration. Yeah, I'm installing it. So what happens actually, there is a language, that hypertext control language, HTML, hypertext markup language. So that actually we should be knowing that scripting for creating the for designing the web pages. So what this particular web server in Windows will do while installation, it will create a basic page. So if we directly try to access that basic page, some content should be visible for us. So we will see that. So we can see the message installation succeeded on this particular thing. So I'm closing this. What I'm going to do, as I mentioned, some default version of the HTML language is already written inside the web server. So I'm getting back to my uh, AWS console. I'm closing this. I am taking the public IP of the system of the server. What I'm going to do, taking a new window. Yeah, we can see we are able to access some content from the web server, whatever we have installed. So hence I'm proving that this HTTP protocol is also working. So this is what I wanted to cover in this particular video session. Um, I will just cover one more thing, how to terminate the server. So if you have carefully listened to whatever I said, um, the option that I gave while terminating the server, it should um, automatically disable this particular instance also. So what I'm going to do, when I shut down this, the instance whole thing should terminate. So what I can do, I'm going ahead and I'm shutting this server down. So it is many options are there which we can give. So I'm going ahead and giving other plan, continue. So that particular server is shut down. If I refresh this, I can see the instance state is shutting down. So as I said from the initial lecture, so whatever I have given, the database services, storage service, website hosting, whatever we want, we should have a server up and running inside which we can enable the database services and then provide it to the customer. If it is a storage service, we can have a big hard disk attached to the server, and whatever storage services that we have to provide, we can do that. And website hosting. So that's what we saw now. So whatever website we need to design, we can design it using the different languages. We already have the scripting languages, and through that we can define it in the server, and then we can make the server always up and running and hence provide the services to the customer. So the server is terminated now, it is shutting down. So now if we try to access with the same public IP, if we try to access the web server with the same IP of the server that we have generated, since the server is shutting down and we can see it is terminated, since it is terminated, this should not be accessible actually. So it is still running. Yeah, we can see the site can't be reached. So yeah, so that's how we create EC2 instances for Windows Server. So that's it for this video. Feel free to ask if you have any doubts. Like the video, subscribe the channel if you are interested. Thank you.